All right, guys, welcome back to the Short Story Long podcast. I'm your host, Sam Derrickson, joined by my co-host, Andrew Dial.
What's up, guys?
What do we know?
Well, it's been a while since we've done this.
January 4th was when the last one dropped.
It's almost February,
Yep.
almost a month, which we're drinking Buzz Balls again for some reason, which since drinking the first ones, I've noticed they're everywhere. So apparently it's not just a discount gas station thing.
Maybe just the ones we had were bad. The cherry.
Whew.
What's that one?
I've got a chili mango. She bites.
This is pineapple colada chiller,
Have a ball, it says.
which they are 15% alcohol, so
Indubitably.
it is spicy,
That's 30 proof,
but I think we can probably handle it.
I guess. Put hair on her chest.
That's right. So we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good
I'll tell
time.
you a story about I told Wyatt to he had to eat his deer steak or something. I was like, I put hair on your chest. And Emma's like, I'm not eating it.
Yeah, I don't want hair on my chest.
Kids are wild as hell. I got a whole section on shit Wyatt says, so.
Okay, well, to get started, let's do emails. What do you say?
Okay.
So I haven't been through these, but we've got a couple here from TurboTax and from Adman Yavan.
Hey, that might be an actual fan.
No, it said something about elevate your podcast or whatever.
Oh, yeah, there's not a chance of that happening.
Absolutely not. Not with these ratings. Okay, so from January 2nd, this would have been before the last one dropped, from Tiara. Hello, guys. I just want to wish you both a happy new year and an incredible 2025. May it bring you both everything you could ever want. Love you and your podcast. Big sis. So thank you, Tiara. So far, New Year's off to a great start.
Okay, good.
January 8th from Tim Gebhart. Greetings, fine gentlemen. First and foremost, I don't care what the ladies say. This is hands down best entertainment around. Sam is correct. I have heard my wife say she has the biggest ass around, and yes, at 6'4", I am a large ass. Andrew, there are local comedy groups that I'm sure you could find with a quick Google search. I have also thought about stand-up, but decided to keep my day job, mostly because of my German descent. Germans aren't even remotely funny and steal all their jokes. How do I know? I stole that joke from a German comedian. Always thought I was better at telling stories anyway, like the time my 7-year-old baby chicken stood up after a ball game and proclaimed, "Hot damn, we can go home now." Stay safe and warm. Tim Gebhart. Okay, then January 9th from Tiara, episode 56, Sautism. Yay, a new episode, for real this time. Loved your story of your library experience. Yay, thank you for reading my book. The next one comes out at the end of this month, so I'll be excited to read that one. I love that you're reading so much now. So glad that you're getting good use out of the white elephant gifts, the incense. And what did you end up doing with all your awesome bookmarks? Which there's a stack of bookmarks over there from all Indian tribal leaders. So every book that I check out from the library, I'm putting one of those bookmarks in the library book when I return it. So it's paying it forward.
I feel like they take those out and throw them away.
Probably. I was laughing so freaking hard over how angry Dozer was getting that the podcast was seeming to turn into a book podcast versus a car guy podcast. Sounds like Dozer has a new side hustle, sharpening chains. Since Dozer stood up and got lightheaded from the incense, I have to ask if you made it back out of the basement after recording. Yes, he did, and he has since come back. I did not light incense tonight, so we're safe. Yes, Dozer needs to do stand-up comedy. I recommend watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She's a comedian and is freaking hilarious. It's an actual show, but you can fast forward through the story to when she's on stage to get the ideas. Beware, it's not kid-friendly. Anytime you want an audience, feel free to let us know, and we'll make a day trip to Illinois and be in the audience. So there you go.
Dang. My wife is going to hate this news.
Yeah. So I was going to say something, but totally lost it. Anyway, I guess we'll move on. January 16th, Tierra. Good morning, guys. Since there is no awesome new podcast to listen to, I'll just grumble about my car and ask a related question. Please impart your great knowledge to me. So Ryan took our Equinox to run some errands when it was a warm -2 this week, and when he got back, he said the engine warning light came on. He made an appointment with our mechanic for later that week, and I drove it to take Katie to school, but never saw the light. At the appointment, the mechanic checked the computer readout and said it was probably some water in the gas tank that had frozen and then had trouble being pushed through. He said we should be fine now after doing an oil change, and there's my question. How does this happen? I thought gas was, well, gas, not water that can freeze. And second to that, what can we do to prevent this in the future? And lastly, what else should car owners be doing when weather turns this cold? Thanks for your help. So to answer your question, the ethanol in modern fuel is actually, there's a technical scientific term for it, but it's not, it's like, I guess it'd be aerobic, not anaerobic. Like it draws moisture. It attracts moisture. So like it's a big thing in the classic car world. When you're parking your car for the winter, you want your gas tank completely full to the brim, because there's no air in the gas tank for the temperature change to condense into water, which is attracted by the ethanol in the fuel. And the fuel will settle underneath, or the water will settle underneath the fuel because oil is lighter than water. And so if your pickup is in the bottom of the tank and you have water in your fuel, it can pick up water. Typically not a huge deal on gas engines. It is a big deal on diesel engines, and they have water separators. But it's always a good practice in the wintertime to keep your car completely full when it's really cold, because if you get stuck in a situation on the road, for whatever reason, you can idle your car to stay warm in the event of an emergency. You got anything to add to that, Dozer?
Well, and she said something about, I thought gas was gas. Well, gas is not always gas, because different gas stations in theory have different qualities of gas, and there's such thing as bad gas. I don't think it happens near as much now as it used to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think your tanks are underground too. It rains, there's a fitting or something loose. You just never know where you could be getting water in. So they make a product, what's it called? Heat. So it's HEET,
Mm-hmm.
that you can dump in your gas tank. And if you just want to be preventative, you could put some of that in there when it's going to be below 20 degrees.
Sure.
The full gas tank thing, also a good idea, because that's just more gas. You know, a lot of water is harder to freeze than a little bit of water.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. It's probably just a freak thing, honestly. But those would be some good tips. Another thing, not gas related, but when it's going to be real cold, make sure you got a good battery in it. Park it inside if you can. Let it warm up before. I know there's a lot of controversy. How long do you let it warm up? Do you let it warm up at all? This, that, and the other. But it's always good to let it run a minute or two. That time I blowing up my rear axle on this?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay, so Cody, our friend Cody, had a diaper party. And apparently 2 is the number of tall boy twisted tees that makes me feel like my Jeep is unbreakable.
Okay.
So there was a hill that Randy Dozenbrock broke a stub shaft on his 1-ton axle on 42s and did not make it up. And I thought me on 44s and 37s that if I just used enough throttle, it would be fine.
Because a 3.8 can't break a
Right.
Jeep anyway.
So I beat on it pretty good, gave up. We did the rest of the trails, went back, had another twisted T, went back out on the trails at Randy's house, beat on it again. I was just about to give up, and I said the words, and as soon as I said it, I said, that was the wrong thing to say. I said, I'm going to give it one more shot.
You never say one more.
So
Never say one more.
last one. And went up there and got a little off to the side. Front driver's tire went up about 6 foot up a tree, and the whole Jeep bounced about 6 foot in the air. Came down under wide open power. Boom! Blew one of the rear axle shafts. So it was super cold here. I mean, it was, 20, 15,
Cold.
colder than that. And
Definitely below freezing.
the Jeep was sitting outside at Randy's. Me and Eric went and got it, and it sat outside at my house, and I decided to tear it apart to see what I needed because I went to Vegas for the pin convention.
Pin convention.
Yes. And I backed it in the garage. I was sitting outside. I backed it in the garage, and I immediately pulled the diff cover off of it. And 140 weight gear oil is grease at that temperature. I'm not joking. I drained it into the drain pan and then went out in my driveway. I've got my oil barrel, and I stuck it in the oil barrel to drain out of the drain pan and went inside. I came back outside an hour later, and half of it was still in there.
Absolutely.
So
multi-viscosity.
yeah. So I ran, when I refilled my axle, I put 90 weight in it instead of 140.
Probably a safe bet.
Jeep does call for 140 if you're going to do any towing, though.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. And is that straight 140 or like 90
Oh,
140?
like 90 140.
Okay.
So I broke my rear of my Jeep had a limited slip in it, and I've been considering going locker, and I broke a 30 spline axle shaft. And since you was 35 spline axles and 30 spline axles are basically the same cost. So while you're going, you might as well buy the $1,000 locker and make a 35 spline.
Might as well.
And so I've been in the process of switching all that, getting it all fixed. Well, then as I'm in there, I'm finding more problems.
Okay.
So like my Jeep, when you put it in gear, when you put it in reverse, it makes a clunk. And I was like, oh, something's loose under there. You know, just Jason Fiber style. If I don't look at it, the problem will go away.
Yeah. It'll either get worse and the problem will become evident, or the problem will fix itself.
So I found out both rear lower shock mounts were egged out significantly. I had one shock completely smashed.
Smashed.
And then my upper control arm on the passenger side was egged out, and the slot is about a half inch longer than the bolt diameter. So about an inch long.
Yeah.
So
that's for, you know, alignment, adjustability.
Yeah, I suppose. I think from the factory they are square. Because they got the cam bolt, but I've got adjustable control arms, so all that stuff's getting welded solid. Yeah. So that's where I'm at there, Jeep wise. You obviously got more to read.
I do. I have a couple more emails.
I can tell.
The 23rd. Hi, guys. Since I am without the entertainment of you guys giving us a new episode this week, I'm going to ask another car question. Katie will be 15 in March, and we have friends' kids who didn't have their driver's license at 17 because they were scared to drive. So we've been having Katie practice in the country. We want her to be super confident behind the wheel in empty parking lots and country roads. That way, when she gets her permit and has to drive in the city, she isn't overwhelmed. We have a friend who is a cop, and he has warned us that it's illegal, and we could be fined for doing this if caught. Here's my frustration. Once upon a time, kids were driving the farm trucks at like age 10. How are we supposed to turn our teenagers into safe drivers if we don't give them extra practice and make them feel normal to drive? Here's my question. Do you think it's still worth doing and just try not to get caught? Or is there a better solution I'm missing? Thanks as always.
My kids are 6 and 7 years old, and they drive down our lane out in the country all the time.
So I think where the disconnect is you live in Indianapolis, so the country is like Champagne for us. You know what I'm saying? So I would say whenever you visit the in-laws, just let Katie drive around Mattoon, because, you know, in town Mattoon is probably like country of Indianapolis, and you'll have some traffic for her to navigate around and deal with, you know, drivers being within your proximity. But I wouldn't probably do downtown Indianapolis driving, because I'm 34 years old and I've been driving for a long time.
I mean, how old is she?
She's 15.
So does she have a learner's permit? Because that kind of makes a difference. If she doesn't have a learner's permit, yeah, it's illegal, but still.
She'll be 15 this March. She's 14.
So she probably doesn't. But, I mean, country, parking lots, you know, don't worry about that. But there's probably a liability and insurance thing. But, I mean, having her drive that stuff is probably better off in the long run. on building confidence. And it's kind of crazy. I know my cousin's son didn't want his driver's license right away. I don't know if he waited till he's 17, but he didn't get it right away at his 16th birthday. And I've got a nephew who waited till he was like 17 to get his driver's license. I don't get that. I would have got my driver's license when I was 13 years old if I could have.
So I had to wait till October because of the way my birthday fell and the school year and driver's ed and stuff. I don't even remember the reason why,
Ew.
but huh?
I said, ew.
Yeah, it sucked.
That would suck.
All my friends were driving and I wasn't. Yeah, it was terrible. And if previous podcasts have been any indication of how strict my old man was,
Witches drive vehicles.
like when you had to get your hours in, which thank God it was only, I don't know, it was like half of what it is now.
I can only fucking imagine.
Like so many at night, like it was to the fucking second.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we drove for 47 minutes. That's not an hour.
No,
that was 47 minutes. And like,
and you're holding your steering wheel wrong.
And my dad is like caught between being a stickler for the rules and like fuck the government, right? So he was like, we'll just fucking put you in the car and drive to fucking Ohio and back and you'll get your fucking hours done. And my mom was like, no, he is not fucking driving on the interstate. So I had to drive around town with her.
Your dad's like, let's get this over with.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't want to be in the car in the passenger seat with me.
Oh, shoot.
Which if you ask my fiance, she doesn't want to be in the passenger seat either. But she doesn't want to drive, so it's a catch-22.
You do follow people really close. I texted her. I didn't like. She tell you I Snapchatted her when we. So you were the semi like cut over in front of you, and you like gunned it, and you were like 3 foot from his back bumper. I Snapchatted her, and I go, "Why are we so close to this semi?" She Snapchatted me back. Be careful slamming on the brakes. The floorboard's already thin on that side.
She about wore the floorboard out of the GTX on the power tour. I'll tell you that much. All right, last one from Tierra. It was this morning at 4:19 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Hey, guys, I have another question for you. We keep getting offers in the mail to buy our paid-for car. When is the best time to trade in your car? Is it when offers are pouring in, like now, or when repairs cost so much it could cover a used car? Thanks in advance, Tierra.
Okay, well, first off, Sam and I don't own anything nice enough to worry about trading in or getting offers.
So the only like context I have for this is when I had that Ram half-ton pickup truck.
It's Ram.
I got like an offer from Carvana, and like every 6 months they'll send me in an email like your offer has been lowered to like $300. Like no thanks, I already sold it. But yeah, Dozer's right. We don't have anything that is worth trading in.
So I will tell you this. The we'll buy your car is trade-in.
Right.
So I learned that the hard way. So Deep Holtz, Chevrolet or whatever in Charleston, Illinois, sent me a letter or called me and said, hey, or no, I had my wife's car for sale on Facebook.
Okay.
They called me and said, hey, we want to buy this. And I said, yeah, well, is it going to be more than trade-in? Oh, yeah, it'd be a lot more than trade-in. Okay. Come up at 2 o'clock on Wednesday or Monday or whatever it was. So I took off work, drove up to Charleston, and I thought I was going to get to sell this car. Got a new windshield, new tires, blah, blah. They're like, go sit in this waiting room. So you go sit in this waiting room. They go out there, get in your car, take it for a drive. You're just in a waiting room. You're nobody in this.
Mm-hmm.
And they come back in with a piece of paper, and I had it listed for $6,500. They come back in with a piece of paper, like $1,500 what we'll give you. And I was like, well, what's trade-in on it? They're like, this is trade-in. I was like, the guy on the phone told me this is going to be higher than trade-in, the cash offer. No, it's trade-in. And oh my God, to this day, still pissed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have never traded a vehicle in my life. I've bought a car twice from a dealership. And what I can tell you is that cash talks. And I would say, depending on the year of your Equinox, I would be inclined to keep it. because, I mean, certain Equinoxes had certain engines that were a problem, but some of them had good engines that you can keep for lots of miles. Now, if it's got, if so, here's the catch-22. You keep it till it's a problem when the cost of repairs outweigh the cost of buying a new car. Well, it's not worth anything to sell private party or to trade in, because if you don't want to drive it, neither does anybody else. So the value's diminished significantly.
Another thing to think about is I am embarrassed to admit, this is shameful. I have bought a new car before.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought a RAV4 for Jedco. And our old RAV4, the transmission was shuddering a little bit. And Dan Heck looked at it. They're like, yeah, we put stop slip in it. It's good. And it needed tires. And it had 100,000 miles on it, which is nothing for a Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
Just 1/3 wore out.
Mm-hmm. But
I realized, I did some simple math. If I would keep this much longer, all of our other vehicles would be wore out about the same time this would be wore out.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the conscious decision that we were having a pretty decent year at work. I probably need to get this traded in, get a new vehicle. That way we don't have to buy 3 new vehicles in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing to think of, is what other vehicles do you have in your family? And, what, just kind of keep that in mind, kind of keep a rotation going, I suppose.
So,
and I'll tell you this, coming from a guy who's used to buying private party, buying a new car is terrible.
Yeah.
Because it was, get in here, sit down. You're lucky we have a car to sell you today. This was in 2023.
Yeah.
You should be happy we have a car to sell you. It's like, no. This isn't the type of wheeling and dealing I do. You know what I mean? And it was basically no wheeling and dealing. You're lucky we'll even sell you a car. And you should be thankful that we will give you the time to take your money.
Mm-hmm.
That was the vibe I got. Now, unfortunately, the business I'm in, this car dealer is a customer of mine, so you can't really raise much of a stink.
And a neighbor.
Yeah, and you can't really go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it was terrible. My dad's like, congrats on your first new car. It was terrible.
Would not recommend.
Yeah, I don't go buy it from some weird dude on Facebook. You get way more of a rush.
So, I mean, Dave Ramsey says don't buy a new vehicle, which Andrew Dial didn't buy the vehicle. Jedco bought the vehicle, so it's a little bit different rules. But I mean, not to go all Dave Ramsey, but I think buying a new vehicle is silly because, I mean, it depreciates so insanely.
Yeah, I lost $10,000 that day.
Yeah, the day. Yeah, I mean, just instantly. You just sign in your name. You just lose money instantly. And that's what we talked about on a previous episode about the warranty. Even brand new cars break down. Just because it's brand new doesn't mean, and you have a warranty, doesn't mean it's going to be covered.
Mm-hmm.
Or that it's not going to break down.
I'll say keep that. This is the advice I got. Keep the Equinox, buy another vehicle. Because then when it breaks down, you've got an extra. You buy it under the guise of it's for your daughter, and then you just start stacking up high mileage shit boxes in your driveway until the homeowners association complains. See, that's where I'm at. My the Dave Ramsey's live like no one else so you can live and give like nobody else. So that, you can drive like nobody else. So one day you can drive like nobody else. Well, one of my employees is, good with his money and budgets and is driving like nobody else, to stay within his means, which I appreciate. But where he's going wrong with shitbox life is not having a backup shitbox.
Which I am appalled at anyone who only has one vehicle.
Talk about flopping out in the wind. You know what I mean?
That's a liability.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're really putting some trust in this thing.
So for the first time in my life, I have what I would consider a highly reliable vehicle. My Shaniqua was a reliable vehicle too.
That's true. Yeah.
But perfect example. I went to the DMV in December to get stickers for all my antiques because they're doing this to us December. And they're like, Sam, how you been? We haven't seen you. Like, what's been going on? Where you been? Are you okay?
You sick?
Like, blink twice if you need help,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I fucking bought a pretty decent vehicle and I don't need to buy $1,000 ship boxes and keep putting license line on me, And I kind of had a little moment to myself, like, am I maturing? A, and B, like, am I happy with who I have become?
Yeah.
I kind of liked, going through those ship boxes.
If the wind blows a shopping cart into my Jeep, I'm now upset.
Right? Oh my God. I think about that type of
Like
stuff
my
now.
buddy Nate says, if you have to wash your vehicle, you're driving too much vehicle.
Well, and so I got the monthly pass at Southtown, and I washed the paint off. Like, freaking, as soon as I bought that Jeep, Kyle was like, "Oh, Black, you're never gonna keep it clean. You're never gonna keep it clean." I was like, "Fucking watch me."
$20 a month.
Yeah. So I got the unlimited pass at Southtown. Oh, you're gonna wash the paint right off of that, and I'm like, it's got 156,000 miles. The rear view mirror will be dragging the ground before I have the paint washed off this thing.
Yes,
like, we're
exactly.
not worried about that.
And if we do, the metal underneath will be shiny from the brushes scrubbing it. You remember the time back in the day when we actually had a true touchless car wash in this town?
There is still one on Evergreen in there.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, everybody gets all bent out of shape. Like, if I wouldn't take it to Southtown, I would just hand wash it, right? Like, my Dart and my GTX, they don't go to automatic car washes. The Dart because it leaks like a sieve, and the GTX because I don't trust an old car on a new car wash.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're that worried about shit touching your car, like, I guess just hand wash it yourself
And buy a shit box.
Yeah.
I used to hate that term, shit box. Like, like beater of the heater. Everybody's like, shit box. It just sounds so dirty. You know what I mean? I used to hate it when it kind of came. And then I've said it like 3 times tonight before this, but I don't know. I just don't like it. It sounds like a booty. Sounds like a pooper.
Turd cutter.
Sounds like a fucking, yeah.
Well, current events wise.
Porta potty's a shit box.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But anyway, I still use it now because it's like the universally accepted term.
Everybody knows what a shit box. Like, you can buy a shit box edition badge at AutoZone now.
Yes.
So let's do an abridged book club real fast for our one loyal listener that does enjoy that.
Okay.
So we left off last podcast. I had read 2034, the next World War type of book. The sequel to that, 2054, I finally got it and read it. It wasn't as good. And
never are sequels, never are.
Never was.
Except for Terminator 2, they were talking about that. Terminator 2 was much better than Terminator 1.
Fair enough. So that one, it was about, and it was written several years ago, but it was like about how the next power struggle in the world is for artificial intelligence. So it's kind of allegories to today. And it was a little off the wall. I thought it was okay. Out of 10, I would rate it a 7. And then as far as audiobooks were concerned, I was bitching about the one library app. Like, you had to wait for people who have checked out this audiobook to fucking return it so you can check it out. Well, finally, it was my turn in line to listen to Colony Mars. It was about...
Wow.
Oh, hey, this is our podcast guest calling in.
Okay.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you're on the air, and we'll get to you in just a second. I'm gonna wrap up my thought. So I listened to those 6 books, and then I also read The Long March Home by Marcus Brotherton. Is about the Bataan Death March, and like, I've heard about it in history. Like, oh, okay, like they made POWs march, right? Well, like, this is a historical fiction, kind of similar to the one about the Restless Wave. And it is these 3 friends who all go into the army at the same time, and they end up in the Bataan, and then Japan attacks Pearl Harbor and then attacks this island, and it talks about all the atrocities that happened to the American POWs for 5 years, for 4.5 years. And like, it really kind of put into perspective, like, this is why our grandparents hated Japanese people.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never drive a Toyota, you know, like it was bad stuff. So if you are into World War II history, and like the European theater is pretty well covered to death, the Pacific theater is not necessarily as highly, like Band of Brothers, right? Like everyone's seen Band of Brothers, right? And that's about the European theater. Well, the Pacific is by the same director, and it's about the Pacific theater, and it's not as highly regarded, but it's, it talks about how aggressively the Japanese fought the American forces, and like, it's no wonder why there was so much anti-Japanese rhetoric in America after that. So those are the books that I've read recently. So
I've been listening to Think and Grow Rich, but I'm just like 2 or 3 hours into it, and I'll come back later with my thoughts.
all right, John, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going?
I'm doing good.
So I was texting John earlier, and I was like, hey, we're going to record a podcast later. You want to be on the podcast? And he's like, sure, let me go get a beer.
This has got to be a record, like a third. This is the third appearance on the podcast.
The most frequent guest.
Did I get a trophy or like a coffee mug?
Sure.
We can probably make
I
that
know a
happen.
guy. Speaking of which, Rebecca Bickle wants to do a best of episode for us, like edit it.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to come up with
The best of.
the best of things. We put a thing on Facebook and got a couple answers, but we need to know like top 10 moments. One of mine is John driving
The
an
U-Haul?
old U-Haul out to California, and his brother telling him that's the stupidest idea you've ever had.
That's real life trauma.
Yeah.
So,
I like the gal that bought the Fiero.
oh, yes.
Yeah, we need to write this down.
So you mentioned today or yesterday, you mentioned asking AI. It was yesterday.
Yes.
Like, have AI listen to all of our podcasts and determine the top 10 moments that we were laughing recording the podcast, and like that'd be a good indicator of like the best of moments, maybe. So if anybody knows of an AI program that'll listen to podcasts for you, let us know.
Another one is Sam's rant over the lack of uniformity in airport security.
Are you writing these
okay.
down?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you can read your handwriting because I can't.
Well, it's upside down. Ali Fierro. That's
Ali Fiera. Yeah.
She's like, I thought I bought a Ferrari.
That whole thing was great.
The baby. And she failed. She failed the class. She's in the hospital. Oh, jeez.
Oh, shoot. What's John got going on?
Well, Mr. Dozer, we haven't talked in a while,
No, we have not.
and I'm gonna send some pictures to Sam right now.
Where's this going?
The U-Haul 2.0 is currently purchased and ready to go.
Oh, you're heading back to the Midwest?
I don't know where I'm heading yet.
Okay, well, I wouldn't stop in Illinois. I'd go to Tennessee.
Look, I bought the U-Haul truck. Okay, that's what's important.
Okay.
We're still trying to do sunshine to high crime. That would, I'd love for that to happen this year.
Yeah, it's an older Chevy this time. It's a big block with a 5-speed with like a 2-speed rear end.
Oh, shit.
Hell yeah.
Air brakes, air horn.
Oh shit.
It's like a square body, as the kids call them. I just call them old Chevy pickup.
Is it got like a 366 in it?
It's got the 427
Mm.
and a Holly.
Oh, shit, it is.
Dang, boy.
I never learned.
Are you sending me pictures or?
I sent it.
John's going to be banging through the United States, as he says, before he knows it.
I guess I could use the picture you're getting ready to send me as the cover photo for this.
Oh, goodness. But were you guys just doing your book club reviews?
I just finished book club.
Do
Yep.
you know how to read, John?
I got audio books.
Yeah, well, close enough.
Was that?
I said close enough.
I did read the J.D. Vance book.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. I never thought I would relate so much to a
Vice president.
Yeah. So we were in the second air wing at the same time. I didn't know the guy. I wish I would have. That'd been that made the story way cooler.
Yeah.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we were best friends. We used to drink beer.
He'd tell me how much he hated his mom.
Yeah. We bonded over mom trauma. Great.
Boy, old Bonnie Vance, she's something else, isn't she?
Yeah. I haven't really watched. I don't try to pay too much about politics, pay too much attention to it. I pretty much hate them all equally.
Sure.
But I guess she goes out on tours and like speaks about her addiction stuff, which is kind of cool. She's like owning her issues, I guess. But that's about as far as I went with it.
So my stepmom asked me if she was like rehabilitated and healed from her addiction, and I was like, they kind of like wrapped up the end of that book like real fast, like, and then she kind of got help for her shit, and that was like the end of the book. So I didn't know like what actually ended up happening to Bonnie.
Bonnie's the grandma.
Oh,
just for the record.
Okay. What's the mom's name?
I don't remember.
Mama Vance. Anyway.
Her last name wasn't Vance.
Anyway.
So Vance was her maiden name.
Right, and she got married like 10 times.
Yeah.
I thought Vance was Bonnie's.
Right, Bonnie is his grandma. Is his grandma on his mom's side.
But anyhow, I did read Why Gary Why. That was an excellent selection.
Okay.
Good. There's some good parenting tips in there. I wish I'd have read it like years ago, because I always told my kids, like, hey, if anyone touches you, like, we'll bury him. Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Apparently, that's the wrong thing to tell children.
Yeah.
But I totally get the sentiment. Like, I totally understand. Like, I don't have kids, but I have kids that I am like not related to, but like I relate with, right? And like if somebody touched Wyatt or Emma, I would be off the fucking handle.
Oh,
yeah. Uncle Sam knows a good spot and it has a bag of lime.
That's right.
So
I know hog farmers. We're good.
So in the middle of reading that book, or right as I finished that book up, was around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a friend's house for Halloween, and the kids were all playing downstairs, and there were some older kids from the neighborhood down there. So I didn't really think anything of it. Well, that night we went to bed, and like 2 a.m, Emma came in and said that her lady parts hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what happened? I was like, did something happen tonight at the Halloween party? Yes, she said. So that's after me reading this book. So I'm like on high.
Your radar's like, do.
Yeah. So I'm on like high alert. I'm like waking up Lara, and I was like, you need to like be asking questions about this. So like the next day, Lara and my wife kind of pulled her aside and was asking questions, and, you know, couldn't really get a story. Well, come to find out, she had, was it called pinworms?
I don't know.
Anyway, she had worms, and they were crawling out of her beehole at night, and
oh no,
irritating her lady parts.
Oh no!
Apparently, it's a thing.
I can't wait till she's 18 and hears this.
Yeah. So we were.
Well,
so then when one child in your family has worms, everybody has to take dewormer.
Okay.
So I was, you know, last October years old when I had dewormer for the first time.
Okay. So, sidebar.
Kids are disgusting.
Kids are disgusting. 1, 2. I worked with a guy who had worms.
Okay.
And it was like I guess we were not sensitive enough for him, but like we would go into the bathroom after he took a shit, and there'd be worms like wiggling around in the fucking toilet.
Holy shit!
And we're like fucking like, and as like kind of fucking sarcastic, like whoever has worms needs to go to the fucking vet, right?
Yeah.
It turns out the kid fucking had worms. Like he was sleeping on a fucking garage floor with like 4 fucking dogs, and got fucking worms from his dogs.
Holy shit! And like you can buy your whole family dewormer for like $6.
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
Maybe who knows? Maybe I need dewormer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, I don't know. I'm gonna let that.
You would know.
I'm gonna let that. Fuck. If I got worms, I'm gonna let them. Like we talked about, like I was losing a little bit of weight. Like if there's a problem, like let's let the problem solve itself until I'm below my target weight. Then we'll contact a physician.
You and me both, but I don't think worms is the way I want to lose it.
I mean, if I had to choose,
You owe Zempic $1,500 a month.
Oh shoot!
Are you going to KOH this year?
I am. I'm only going for the last like couple of days though.
Yeah, I get it. Every year I say there. I'm not going, and then I see the stuff on social media, and oh shit, wish I was there.
Same. I gotta once I get off the phone here with you, I'm gotta finish up the stuff with the RV. I was not gonna go. I was gonna finish my Blazer and be an adult. And I got my first race of the year is like February 22nd. And my car doesn't even run right now. But we're going to KOH for the weekend.
So I had a customer ask me like why I wasn't going this year, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, it's a great time. In a 7 days span, there's probably 24 to 48 hours of 100% over the top fun, but it's spread out over a 7 day period.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of time off of work and a 36-hour drive home.
Yeah.
And like Dozer drove out and back both times that he went, and I fly out and drive back.
I went 3 times.
Oh, okay.
I drove out twice, but I flew out with you one at a time when we seen the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. So,
where'd you see the ocean at?
LA.
We had to fly into fucking LAX because we didn't bring our passports to fly to Ontario.
I remember that episode. Add that to the
list. And then turns out we passed Ontario on the way to King of the Hammers. We were sleep deprived.
You guys should fly into Vegas. It's much better.
That's what Cody did the first year, I think.
No, the first year we drove through Las Vegas because
the first year when he when he went out with Polaris.
Oh, okay, maybe that was the first year. It was just like 2 or 3 weeks before,
right? Yeah. So anyway,
he flew out there and like froze his fucking ass off because he thought it was the desert.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I remember him talking about just freezing in the trailer.
So, but if you'd have asked me 6 years ago, Sam, will you ever go to King of the Hammers? I'd be like, no, there's no way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward 2 years, like, I'm going to fucking King of the Hammers. And then I did it 4 years in a row. Like, that's like a dream come true. It was fantastic. But, like, I've been there, done that. I want to pursue other goals now. And, like I said, it was a fantastic time. I don't regret a second of it. But, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze for a 5th year. You know what I'm saying?
Johnson Valley is a lot more fun when nobody's there.
Okay.
Fair.
It's pretty incredible when there's 100,000 people there, to be honest.
It's so much different. Believe it or not, I went out and wheeled Johnson Valley many times before I ever knew what King of Hammers was. And I remember like my first night at, King of Hammers, like back door was lit up or whatever. So I drove over there. I remember like looking down, I was like, this isn't the same spot I camped out like a month ago.
Right.
This is so freaking different.
Well, in 2009 or 10, Sam and I had plans to go to King of the Hammers, and like we were gonna do it.
That's why I bought Shaniqua.
He bought a truck. I got a trailer for my father-in-law. We were gonna do it. And then we added up how much we'd have in fuel. Because back in 2010, diesel fuel was still $4 a gallon.
And I was making $300 a week.
Yeah. And
take home.
We're like, oh, shit. Like, if we took that money and put in our Jeeps, it would be so sweet. And then we didn't go and didn't put the money in our Jeeps. That was
You'll
back.
have
That
that.
was back when people were racing Ultra 4 on leaf springs.
Right.
They still are in the 4600 class.
But this is when there wasn't even classes.
Yeah.
It was just one race.
Man.
Yeah, I missed the early years of it. I think I lived in Hawaii when that happened.
Oh, boo hoo.
So rough.
Yeah. It was pretty rough.
Don't they like hate white people in Hawaii?
Yeah, but I get a good tan. I have dark hair, so I was good.
I can see that.
You kind of have a islander vibe to you a little bit.
Yeah. So you know what? I drove. So I had a new car. I had a new Pontiac GXP there.
Hell
In
yeah.
traffic, we got treated like you couldn't get over. Like the Islanders were not letting you over. But I ended up buying and fixing up a '88 Monte Carlo, and I got all the respect on the interstate.
Yeah.
It's like the Islanders all drive like G bodies and like Toyota trucks.
Okay.
Like beat up Toyota trucks was like really. It's weird. They like the tires are way outside the wheel wells. Like on like 14-inch Thornburgs are like in style there. But
Got to get them lava trains.
yeah, and they're all bald, like bald Super Swampers and TSLs on Toyota pickups.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
like
the style there.
$4,300 to ship tires over there, probably.
I don't really remember how much tires were, but yes, they're probably outrageous.
That's definitely one place on my bucket list. I want to go visit Pearl Harbor.
So that's the other book I've been reading is Sailing Made Easy, because on top of Route 66 and wanting to hike some of the trails in America, I want to sell a boat to Hawaii. Sharon says no.
Sail?
I thought we were talking about like selling stuff, but he's talking about sailing.
Sailing a boat
Sailing.
to Hawaii. That
Apparently it takes about 30 days.
okay, because it's not like off the southern coast of California like it is on the map, right? It's fucking like a few thousand miles away or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a trip.
Never
I
mind.
haven't researched it that well, because if I research it too much, I just wouldn't do it.
Like, does part of you like think it's gonna be like the Truman Show, and you like sail off, and everybody will tell you not to do it, and then you hit the wall and realize you've been on TV your whole life?
Yep.
It is 2,400 miles from mainland U.S.
Holy cow!
and does not.
I'm gonna hit Hawaii, or I'm gonna find the Great Ice Wall. One of the two.
So
Oh, Admiral John.
So let's just say you average 20 miles an hour in a sailing vessel. That's
It'd be in knots, but yeah.
well,
Technically.
I can't measure knots with a calculator very easily. But like 20 miles an hour is like 18 knots, I think. Maybe. You're a Marine. You tell me how fast is
Yeah, Mr. Sailing Mate.
I've never drove anything in the Marine Corps that ever was measured in knots. But if they would let me, I'd give it a shot.
So that's 120 hours, which I guess divided by, if you sailed straight through, that'd be 5 days, right?
Well, I'm not stopping at Buc-ee's.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, like you're probably like average speed might be slower than 20 miles an hour.
Like, where do you get gas at?
Well, you sail. You don't need gas. Wait for the wind to blow.
Yeah, it don't matter how much you sell if you can't find gas to buy. Sailing Made Easy.
Turns out,
My guy.
I was a kick-ass sailor in Jamaica.
Yeah?
I taught myself. Did I ever tell you this story?
I'd prefer you didn't.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on.
Man, I was excited for it.
All right. Well, John needs the information, so let us know.
Okay, well, they had little skiffs that you could just not even rent, just like the resort in Jamaica. Like you just, like they had, on the beach, there was just a sailing skiff with a little catamaran.
You're like, this is obviously for me to use.
Yeah. And like,
Jamaican guy sailed into work. You took his shit and just fucking
there's
left.
like 10 of them.
Oh, okay.
So, and they're all the colors of the resort or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And like, there's just a Jamaican guy with a life jacket. Like, here you go, have fun.
Man, good luck.
Yeah. And like, there's a picture of me. It was a profile picture at one point in time, just
Oh,
like
my
sailing the
man.
fuck out of this little catamaran. And like, well, at least on that small a vessel, like, if you fuck up, it's like, oh, I am not going the way I need to go. Like, I need to change something, right? And then you change it and you don't go anywhere. And you're like, okay, this didn't work. You change it again. Like, okay, I'm moving again. Like, now we got something to work with. So at least on that small scale, it was fairly straightforward. I mean,
Was Amanda with you?
oh, fuck no. This was Lisa days.
Oh,
This was
okay.
Cody's honeymoon.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, I didn't go. I didn't have any money.
I didn't have any money either. I sold a sport bike to pay for that trip.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, shoot. Sam thought just sailing his life away while his girlfriend's cheating on him.
Yep, that happened.
Wow, way to dig in there deep, bud. You're a good pal.
Some British guy took her back to his hotel room. I didn't know.
Who knew? I mean, I know.
Oh,
But
like in the Bahamas.
In Jamaica, yeah.
Sam was too busy sailing his boat.
Yeah, I was living the dream, dude. I was sailing like a motherfucker.
What could go wrong? Beautiful girl. Taught myself how to sail. I don't have a motorcycle anymore, but
Life is good.
Well, it's good to get the bad ones out of the way early, though.
it
You know?
definitely is. Yeah. Yeah. It's like anything. It's reps, you know. You gotta.
That was the first time I smoked a Cuban cigar.
Yeah.
Got sick as a dog.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my biggest regrets in life. Me and Scott Blessing made good friends with the bartender at, like, because there's several bars. Like, there's one bar that we frequented, and there was this kind of taller Jamaican guy. He was good friends with us, and we were talking about, like, oh, you know, we have like race cars and stuff at home, and he's like, oh, race cars? We have race cars here. Like, bullshit. Like, you don't have fucking races. There's no drag strip in Jamaica. He's like, oh no, we street race, blah blah. So anyway, like, all night we're talking this dude up, and he's like, it's whatever night it is, like, there's street racing tonight, and we're like, oh no fucking way. And he's like, at 11 o'clock, my shift ends. Meet me in the lobby at 11:15, and I'll take you in my car. We'll go to the downtown street races. And me and Scott were like, fuck yes. So we go upstairs to go change, and on the way back,
The British guy.
no, this is not the British guy. This is the Jamaican guy.
The British guy was excited you're going too, though.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So anyway, we had bought these because at this time they were illegal in the U.S. and we bought Cuban cigars from the gift shop. Obviously, the cheapest ones because we were broke. And
What could go wrong?
yeah, so like I'd smoke cigars all the time in the United States, like no big deal, right? So we are walking back to the hotel room, and Scott and I are like, oh, let's fucking smoke these cigars, like we're go street racing, like we're gonna have a good time, you know.
Exactly.
So it's a walk, you know, from the lobby up to the hotel room, and we're on the balcony, like outside of our hotel room, and we just like sit down, and we're halfway through these cigars, and we're just like, man, life is fucking good, like. We're in Jamaica smoking Cuban cigars. Like, we're going to go street racing, and we're just chiefing on these fucking cigars. And like, at the same time, we both look at each other like, I don't feel so hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we go inside and we both puke and we pass out. The next morning, we go back downstairs, and the guy's like, where were you at? Like, I was waiting for you guys. You didn't show up. And I'm like, oh, we just got really sick. Like, what'd you put in those drinks? It's like, I cut you guys off like 2 hours before you went home. Like, I wanted you to be kind of sober for this trip. And we're like, oh, well, we just got really sick. Like, well, what'd you do after you left? We just went back to the hotel room. You didn't do anything? No, we just went back to the hotel room. Well, we did smoke those cigars. He was like, where'd you get those cigars from? Because he thought we were smoking weed.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
obviously Jamaica. Like, oh, the gift shop. He's like, were they Cubans? Like, yeah, they were. He's like, have you ever smoked a Cuban before? No. He's like, how much of it did you smoke? Like, the whole fucking thing? That's what you do with a cigar. And he's like, oh, well, that's why you're not used to Cubans. They'll make you sick as a dog. I was like, oh, well, okay, fair enough. And Fun fact, was the last cigar I smoked until I asked Gary Wines to marry his daughter.
Okay.
Did you guys smoke like a Black and Mild or like a Backwoods?
Are you talking about with Gary or before?
With Gary.
It was
You
definitely
smoke
a Swisher
Backwoods?
Sweet.
No, it was not. It was I don't know.
Black and Mild.
Tim Gebhardt could tell you because I called him. I bought it at the Top Shelf Liquor, and their humidor is like a fucking $15 cigar.
Oh shit. So you smoke it with Gary?
Well, I got him one and me one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we didn't share a cigar.
That's good.
I have a
Jesus.
humidor.
What about now?
I said I have a humidor. I don't smoke cigars though.
Oh,
But it's kind of a funny story. So I was a recruiter for a while, which is awful. But like the first kid you get processed in the Marine Corps, they give you a humidor with like the kid's name and information and like their stats on it.
What? Serious? What the fuck?
that's fucking wild.
Well, they put the wrong kid and wrong information on mine in like Marine Corps fashion. And I was super mad about it for a long time. I'm like, these kids are clowns. Like, this is stupid. Like, they can't even
sign this kid up to die, and they can't even get my fucking humidor right.
Yeah. So when I left, and I don't smoke cigars or anything like that, but so when I left recruiting, the guys got me like a humidor. And then they spelt my wife's names wrong on it, on the going away plaque. I'm like, man, this is just not, they didn't even try to. They're just retarded. I was like, man, this is an omen.
This is an omen.
Batting 1,000 on the humidors there.
Yeah, my wife's name's Sharon, and she doesn't even have a fancy name.
In their defense, you can spell Sharon like 5 ways.
Yeah, but I mean, it's on Facebook. They could've Googled it.
Sharin.
How did they spell it?
It's
I'd have to look at it. It's not right.
Send us a
Like, they
picture
gave
of the
it to me, I
humidor.
put it back in the box. It's been on the shelf ever since. I've never got it back out.
Well, my wife's name is Lauren, and everybody spells it Lauren. And I got her a birthday cake one year, and they put fucking Lauren on the son of a bitch.
Classy.
Oh shit.
Oh, she should have known better being named Laren.
Oh yeah, I know.
What was she
She's
thinking?
met multiple Larens, most of them dudes.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so
We need to talk about the podcast adventures we've taken here lately.
yeah, we do.
So most notably, tying it back into when I was so rudely interrupted on emails about your Dana 44 project. So Dozer calls me and he's like, hey, or maybe he texts me, doesn't matter. He's like, I got this this Detroit 30 spline 44 locker. You should buy it. I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I going to use that for? He's like, you
This
know.
is not exactly how it went.
All right, well, you tell your version then. I'm going to get a beer.
So, as every good marketplace, no, I got to back it up even more. So, I got this 30 spline Detroit True Track limited slip for a Dana 44 rear. And during me owning the Jeep, I had some pinion issues and it kind of sucked and like scratched it up. And I feel like that is one of the reasons it didn't sell. Like you couldn't even hardly catch your fingernail on them. But it kind of looked like a used and abused piece of shit. And I didn't bounce it 6 foot in the air or nothing or anything like that. So, only driven on weekends. And I thought to myself, I did not text this. I did not say it to anybody. I did not do anything. When I was out in Vegas at the pin show, I was like, what would be awesome is if Sam has his drag Comanche that's got a Dana 35 in the back of it. And we were going to build a 9-inch, maybe build an 8.8, blah, blah, blah. I was like, we should put a Cherokee Dana. I didn't know that MJs had 44s in them. So I was like, we should put a Cherokee 44 in them.
Because it'll bolt in.
Yeah, it'll bolt in or whatever. So then we could use my True Track. So I sit down and like all the greatest marketplace finds in my life, I was taking a shit and I open up Facebook Marketplace and there it is. Like an hour from Effingham, an MJ Dana 44, a Jeep Comanche Dana 44. So I send it to Sam, and he's like, "What's this?" And I was like, "You should put it in your drag Comanche." And he's like, "Nah." So I don't know. You didn't, when I originally sent it to you, you're like, "Fuck off." Oh, no. I said, "This seems like a good deal." And you go, "If it was a good deal, it would be sold by now,"
Right.
is what he
And
said.
he's not wrong.
Well, he was wrong. So stand by. So we get back, I put my True Track for sale, and it's like nobody's interested. Like nobody's even asking about it. I put $300 new, they're $650. Nobody's even asking about it. They don't want to see no pictures. They don't have no questions. So I called Sam. I said, "There's only one sold used on eBay, and it's $300. I was like, "I just don't think this is worth a lot." I was like, "You should buy that MJ 44, and we'll put that." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." And
I was him on.
he was him hawing, and I was like, "Well, think about it." So I hang up. He's like, "I'm going to message the guy." So do you want to take over from here, or do you want me to tell it how I heard it?
I like your version.
Okay. So Sam's like, basically, Sam messages the guy. It's like, "Hey, I'm interested in your axle." And the guy's like, "I don't do business over Facebook. Call me." So Sam calls him. And he goes, "Hey, this is Sam. I'm interested in your axle." And the guy's like, basically, "I don't even fucking want to sell this thing. Everybody's just a lowballing piece of shit. I don't even fucking want to sell it. I just want it out of my way. I fucking hate people."
Yeah, basically.
So Sam's like, "Okay, that's fine. Do you ever get toward Effingham?" And the guy's like, "No." And Sam's like, "Okay, well, you're about an hour from me. I'll have to figure out when I can get over there." He goes, "All right, when you figure it out, let me know." Hangs up on Sam.
Yep.
So Sam calls me. He's like, "Yeah, old boy hung up on me." And I was like, "Okay, when are we going over?" He's like, "Sunday." I was like, "Yeah, because
This was Saturday night.
this was whatever, Saturday night." So I was like, "Well, fuck, call him back, I guess, because he don't fucking do internet over Facebook or whatever." And so Sam calls him back, "Hey, are you free?" And the guy's like, "Seriously?" And Sam's like, "Yeah, I want to buy it." And he's like, "Do you have any other parts?" And he's like, "I've got a 4-wheel drive front axle. Like, you're going to need that too, because it's got matching ring and pinion. And I've got a tailgate." And the guy's like, "This tailgate is made of gold. I would hate to know how much this tailgate is worth. It's fucking got rust holes in it, but it's completely straight and mint. And
It's rust free,
it's rust-free except for where the rust is." And that's a thing. I can't explain it, but it is a thing. So, like, he's like, you can't even afford to talk to me about this fucking tailgate." So Sam's like, "All right."
It's got the extruded aluminum.
It's got the aluminum piece on the edge of the tailgate. Every other Comanche tailgate in the world is bent there because people drop fucking anvils on them. But because of this thin fucking piece of aluminum that is for show, no anvils have, penetrated the fucking edge of this thing. So Sam's like, "I'm not interested." This dude is proud of this tailgate. So we drive over there, and Sam, this dude was so sure we were not showing up that he didn't even fucking uncover these axles. So there was a tarp on it, and we got 12 fucking foot of snow. And this tarp is still over these axles in his yard on a drop-off cliff.
Yeah, on a cliff.
A drop-off to your death.
He's at the end of a dead end road.
Yeah.
He's got a Kia Soul and a fucking Prius.
Yeah.
And like something else, like shitty fucking
Ford
car.
Raptor with a soft camper shell on it. That's how you know he's a douche.
Overlanding piece of shit.
Yeah.
Cosplaying Oregon Trail.
Cosplaying Oregon Trail. Yeah. So he's like, we get there. He's like, "Where you guys from again?" It's like, why does it fucking matter? We're here.
From the government here
Yeah,
to take your shit.
Jesus Christ. So we cheat death getting the ice and snow off these axles.
Granted, we're on the edge of a cliff and the edge that has a 1 foot wide walking path covered in stones, covered in ice. And we dig the snow off of this tarp to uncover these axles. And he's like, "All right, here's this axle." I'm like, "Okay, looks like a fucking
Looks like an
44.
axle.
Yeah. It's like, here's my front 30 high pinion non-disconnect out of an XJ,
Yeah,
obviously.
these are worth like $1,000.
Yeah, like, all right,
These
then.
are better than tons.
I was like, well, let me see the fucking
Tailgate.
So he takes us into his garage, which has a fucking rubber mat, like a truck bed rubber mat. When I got super excited when I saw that, because I thought it was for a Comanche. I was like, is this for a Comanche? No, that's for a fucking Tacoma. Like, okay. And then he shows us the tailgate, like, here's where it's perfectly straight. You can't even buy these. Like, it's basically worth fucking $2 million.
Yeah, I would hate to fucking know
And
what this is worth.
This
is what he
extruded aluminum piece, like, there's people selling this piece alone on eBay for $800. And I'm like, okay, then what do you want for all of it? And he's like,
He's like, no, this is where I got to tell the story because this is Sam's negotiation.
I was ready to get the fuck out of there.
So Sam's like, I'm not really interested in the tailgate. I was like, does your Comanches have a good tailgate? I was like, the Comanche at Jason's, they have a tailgate? Oh, no, that one's smashed.
But I have one.
I'm like, okay. He's like, but I got an extra. I was like, all right. I was like, what about your race Comanche? Oh, that one's fucked. And I was like,
I didn't say fuck. I said it's not perfect.
I was like, okay.
How many
opens-
Comanches do we have?
He's got two. One's got an LS in it. That's 2-wheel drive, and one's 4-wheel drive with an 8.8 in it, and that's rust-free except for what's rusty. And I can't explain to you how that makes sense, but it is. Like one floorboard is completely rusted out, and there's no rust anywhere else on the whole vehicle.
It's not completely rust out. There's like a fist-sized rust hole in the passenger side floorboard.
Yeah.
The rest is completely rust-free.
And according to Cody, if you can't throw a cat through it, it's rust-free. So
That's a good measure.
So anyway, so I was like, what about your other Comanche? That one's fucked too. And I was like, well, it sounds like the guy who has two Comanches with with fucked tailgates and only one extra probably ought to fucking have this. And Sam's like, got 3 Carhartt jackets on and 4 pair of gloves. And he's like, I just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you guys need this front axle. And like, no, we don't. It was completely covered in moss. It's like the first front axle Jeep ever put in a Comanche, I think. I don't know.
No, it's
looked-
not a disconnect.
It's my story.
Okay.
It looked like come over on the Mayflower.
It's covered in shit.
And somehow it's got
junk.
tone rings on it, but whatever.
It's junk.
Yeah, so it's useless.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're going to need this if you're going to make your Jeep 4-wheel drive. Sam's like, I'm not making my Jeep 4-wheel drive. It's a race truck. And the guy's like, huh? And you're just like, I'm not even going to go there. Okay.
He was like the dial-up sound in his brain.
Well, like half the shit he said wasn't true.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, yeah, Cherokees have frames. Like, no, they don't. He didn't say that, but that was the kind of bullshit he was saying.
Yeah.
So,
He threw in the decals.
So I called Jason. I was like, Jason. He's like, what's up, my man? I was like, I'm in St. Louis. He's like, so am I. Because I'm like, I don't care. I was like, I need some information. Does the front axle in Sam's Comanche that is in your garage have an axle disconnect or not? He's like, fuck, I don't know. I'm like, well, you ought to know. You've been under there stealing parts enough. And he's like, don't know. So I hang up. I was like, yep, it's got a solid one. You don't need this front axle.
Okay.
And Sam's like, okay, not really interested in the front axle. That guy's like, I will blow my brains out if I have to try to sell this front axle. Please get this off my property. So Sam's like, I'm not even going to make you my
I don't want to
offer
insult you.
because I don't want to offer you, insult you. And the guy's like, I hate people. If
I could tell he wasn't packing because he was a fucking liberal.
yeah,
So
he had like Biden Harris stickers on his shit. So fast forward, Sam pays him with money. Trump lives here on the White House.
okay, I paid him $500. $300 was in $100 bills, and $200 was in $20 bills, stamped with "Donald Trump lives here."
Yeah. So the rear axle he was asking $300 for.
We got him that way.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
So he wanted $300 for the axle, $150 for the front axle, and $300 for the tailgate. So there's $750 plus the decals.
Yeah.
and the extruded aluminum piece. I don't know if that was extra or not. Sam's like, so that was like $800 worth of shit. Sam's like, I give you $500. And the guy's like, oh, if I put this tailgate on the forums, people would offer me a gold medallion for this.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, okay, well, I don't fucking want your tailgate. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because both your tailgates are fucked according to your conversation you told me 3 seconds ago. And Sam's like playing hard to get, being coy. And he's like, you fucking sell your tailgate for a gold medallion. I'm going home. Yeah. And the guy's like, the only thing worse than selling this tailgate too cheap would be ever talking to another human being again. And so we load the shit up for $500
And drive home.
and drive home. So then we get home and tear the axle apart, and I don't know if anything notable happened there, but the only notable thing is the whole inside of the axle is full of rust. Like it'd been sitting a while.
Yeah.
And Sam is obviously anal retentive or something, and he's got to clean the inside of his axle. So he buys an engine hone, a ball hone,
A disc brake hone.
Whatever.
2.5 inches in diameter.
So the amazing part is we need to weld a 1/4 inch mild steel rod to this so it's long enough he can run it through the tubes on the inside of his axle to clean the rust out. And somehow, as a miracle, we put this piece of rod up to this ball hone and I weld it with my MIG welder. And
Like with an eyeball.
And it is so straight. There ain't any wobble to it at all.
Like you can spin it 1,000, 2,000 RPM,
Maybe
no problem.
15. I don't know.
Put it in a die grinder. Let's find out.
Oh, that's in my car.
Oh, you need to leave that.
Okay. Remind me of that.
What'd you say, John?
It's better to be lucky than good.
That's damn right. I've said that. It's twice on Sunday.
So anyway, we disassembled the axle. I got one of Dozer's the one clean bucket Dozer owns in his whole, like, a man owns so many buckets in his lifetime.
Not to say anything. So all my buckets are covered in oil and grease and shit. You run a metal shop. I have one clean bucket. And why do you need a clean bucket? I don't know. Maybe I want to put water in it and wash my fucking car. I don't know. Every other bucket's filthy dirty. So I got 300 fucking 5-gallon buckets in my garage, approximately. Sam grabs the only clean bucket.
In my defense, you brought the clean bucket to the axle disassembly area.
Debatable. So he gets it and drains fucking oil into it. And I'm like, God damn it. He's like, what? I was like, that was the only clean bucket I had on this property. And you're like, sorry? So my guy shows up 2 days later with like 3 Menards buckets, brand new. I was like, I knew what they were for. And I was like, what are these for? He's like, oh, I fucked up your bucket, so I'm giving you new buckets. I was like, then I felt really bad, but also.
Did you pay money for a bucket?
Yeah.
Did you feel like less of a man afterwards?
No, and because this is in my life.
Here we go. He's using his hands, people.
I have.
We need to video this shit.
I have cleaned more buckets than I care to admit, and I've never.
We still don't know.
Seen.
Still don't know.
A clean bucket that wasn't purchased new. Because even a bucket that comes, like, there's a bucket right over there, right to your right. You can have that bucket. It's full of fucking soap and it's dirty because it's full of fucking soap. Right?
Why does a guy with no kids and no wife have so much laundry detergent?
It's empty now.
Oh.
Because some fucking kid for baseball came to the house to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. I got that for fucking $5.
Okay, I would have one. Next time you find one for sale, you buy a couple for me, my guy.
Well, all right. So, Jenna Probst, if you're listening to this podcast, paging Jenna Probst, apparently the fucking kids in Newton sell 5-gallon buckets of laundry detergent all the time on the square in Newton. And she's like, oh, I just didn't think you want, like, of course I want a $5 bucket of fucking laundry detergent. Like,
we gotta have gain though. My kid's skin breaks out with Tide. I don't know.
I don't know if they got gain.
Knockoff stuff.
It is
Not the
knockoff
actual
stuff. Well,
product.
they make it in Newton. Like, they just straight up make laundry detergent in Newton, and like the baseball team or whatever.
In the water down there.
Yeah. So anyway,
well,
regardless,
next time that comes up, let me know. I'll buy a couple.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So we disassemble the axle, ruin your clean bucket, and we clean the axle tubes out a couple days later and blew up some tannerite on your frozen pond.
Shit, I forgot about that. That was awesome.
Because Dozer decided he's never cleaning toilets again in his life.
Toilets are $79.
Just get a new
You
toilet.
can't even afford to clean a toilet. You just buy a new one. It's 2 bolts.
And it comes with a wax ring.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I don't know what it is about me. Well, I know what it is. It's scarcity mindset. But my shop on Henrietta Street had a hot water heater.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work.
A hot water heater or a water heater?
Whatever. Water
Like
heater.
hot
Is
water.
that kind of like de-thawing?
Yeah. You don't need to heat hot water because it's already hot.
Well, you got to keep it hot though. So, checkmate.
As mine's running in the background.
So, my metal shop had a water heater. I almost want to say hot water heater. Had a water heater. Didn't work. My shop at my house now is detached from my house. It's got a bathroom and a utility sink. Had a water heater. Didn't work. And I just realized just my whole life is just all these shops that are very easily equipped with hot water that I never get going. So I don't know what made me snap, but Sam said something one time. He was washing his hands like, why don't you fucking get fucking hot water heater in here? And I was like, shit, I don't have an answer to that. You know what I mean? So Monday night and Tuesday night, we put a new hot water heater in my shop, and I got hot water and a new toilet in the bathroom. And
Did you turn the temperature down a little bit?
I did.
Okay.
I did. The one thing I don't understand about a water heater is why is my hot water white?
It's air bubbles.
Air bubbles. Okay. Just seems kind of gross. Nasty. It's good.
Yep, it's fine.
You should drain your water heater at your house.
Like the one inside the house?
Yes.
Is it nasty?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. The inside
And
of
you're
the old
over there
one was
just-
nasty.
You're supposed to drain them about once a year, but they get some nasty stuff in the bottom of them.
I can believe it.
You're supposed to test your pop-off valve every 6 months.
That sounds like some ocean shit.
Well, I had a water heater bust because my pop-off valve failed. And
We had
flooded my fucking basement.
We flooded an RV today. Well, I didn't. I wasn't there. My buddy flooded an RV today because he was
But
filling
I
it
know
up.
a guy. No, you didn't.
He was filling it up to go out on a rental, and he was filling up the water heater on the RV, or the water tank, and someone had pinched off the overflow valve, and he walked away from it, and I guess the gauge wasn't working. He came back, and it like exploded the water tank and rent the floor.
Oh,
Like,
no.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like a 40-foot RV. Good times.
And the best part about that is RVs are made of cardboard. So
Yeah.
it was ruined.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. He just told me about it today, and I was like, oof. Like, we could, like, come up with a system that, like, pops off the garden hose at, like, 7 PSI.
Surely.
So
Surely
that
that
would never happen
exists.
if the overflow wasn't pinched off. I was like, well, it happened today.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
What can go wrong will go wrong.
There was like, if a wasp builds a nest in the overflow and it doesn't overflow. That was one of my reels I watched last night. There was a plane wreck like in 2003 or something like that, because this airliner had been sitting for like 30 days, and there was a wasp built a nest in the like nozzle that dictates airspeed to the flight computer. And
I think I read that one.
And the pilots were like, "Oh, we're going like fucking a certain mile an hour," and they weren't, and like they just fucking crashed because their instruments were all fucked up.
Shit.
Everybody died. Like 186 passengers died.
That wasp was like, ha, gotcha.
Got him.
Got your ass.
fucking Wasp had an engineering degree and was set to get him.
What else we had going on?
Well, you want to talk about the getting rid of the old toilet with your 450?
Well, we had this toilet, and Sam messaged me. He's like, "What are you doing to this toilet?" I was like, "Well, if somebody had tannerite, and we could blow it up." And as I sent, if someone had tannerite, we could blow it up. He texted me, "I got tannerite."
Yeah, at the same
So,
time.
That is good minds thinking alike. So I'm like, where are we going to blow this toilet up that it doesn't make a mess? Well, we've got ice on my pond. So I'm thinking we'll blow this toilet up on my pond, walk away. When the ice melts, it'll just sink in the pond. We don't have to clean nothing up. And so Sam brings it, and we haul the toilet on a two-wheel dolly out to the pond.
Which was a fiasco in and of
Keeps
itself.
falling off the two-wheel dolly.
And breaks a little bit more each time.
It's just all broke to shit like Humpty Dumpty by the time we got out there. And we opened the lid to the shitter and put 2 things of tannerite in there. We go back up to the house. I'm like, what gun am I going to use? Because I need a gun that will penetrate porcelain and still have enough energy to set off the tannerite. Well, I got a 450 Bushmaster that shoots solid copper bullets, and I was afraid a lead bullet, when it hits the porcelain, would kind of splash, not penetrate. So I was like, all right, I'll use my 450 Bushmaster. And I knew I had it sighted in a little bit high at 100 yards. That way it was kind of point and shoot to 200. So I kind of cheated it down just a little bit. So I've got it on a tripod, squeeze the trigger, boom, blow the fucking tank off this sumbitch. I mean,
Just disintegrates.
It disintegrates. And, oh shit. So I was like, yeah, I knew this gun shot high. I didn't think it shot that high. So I put another round in it, and I aim a little bit lower.
Because it's in the bowl. The tannerite is in the bowl.
It's in the bowl. So I aim a little lower. I aim at like the bottom of the bowl. Boom, shoot. The rest of the toilet disintegrates, but no boom. So we walk out there, and there's the 2 containers of tannerite are still sitting there on the ice, laying on the ground. So we're like, well, damn it. Now the toilet's like gone.
There's no toilet left.
So no wonder why 450 Bushmasters just knocked the shit out of deer, because it completely ruined this toilet. And didn't even eat Taco Bell beforehand. So we're like, well, now what are we gonna do? So this gets into shit Wyatt says.
Okay.
So we had the drum brakes off of
My 44.
Sam's Comanche 44 because he's too rich to run drum brakes. And we finally we realize that the center hole on the drum brake that goes like on the axle, the axle's got like a hub centric thing.
Mm-hmm.
The
lid of the tannerite.
lid of the tannerite fits in there, but the bottle of the tannerite doesn't. We're like, well, this is a sign from God. We're going to send this into space. So if you imagine, we take one brake drum and put it down, facing down on the ice, put 2 bottles of tannerite or 2 containers of tannerite, and then the other drum brake facing the opposite way. So you got like a drum brake tannerite sandwich. So
What could go wrong?
yes. So I shoot that, and boom, and both brake drums go like 20 foot in the air. We're like, that's cool. And before we blew it up, we had to pull them out of the scrap pile. And Sam's like, look at that. These are made in Canada. So all night after that, because this was on a Sunday, I think, irregardless.
Whatever.
The whole evening after that, everybody we ran into, Wyatt was like, we blew up Canada tonight. Like, no, we quit telling people that.
I fucking love that kid.
So I got a whole list of shit Wyatt said. But yeah, that was a young boy's first tannerite experience, which we have to go back to Sam's first tannerite experience.
Which one?
So the very first container of tannerite we bought was from Miller Guns in Effingham, probably 2009.
Okay.
and we put it in an old TV. We shot the front out of the TV. We put a bottle of Tannerite in there, and we were shooting at this Tannerite, and we just shot it. We just shot it to shit. I mean, we shot it. The thing came apart. Everything, like, there was just Tannerite all over. And Sam's like, "This shit ain't even real. This is bullshit." Blah blah blah. So he takes his 45 Kimber.
Because they don't make a 46.
That's right. And walks up 20 yards from this TV and empties his mag into the fucking glass-ridden Tannerite with his 45. And then he comes back, "See, told you this shit ain't even real. This is a joke. You got scammed." So then then fast forward however much time, my cousin has a bachelor party in Indiana. We go jeeping and shooting guns. And they put some Tannerite in a microwave. And Sam's like, "This shit ain't real. Everybody here wasted their money on Tannerite." So we shoot this Tannerite in a microwave, and it fucking blows this microwave into space. The extension cord ends up behind us. Sam looks at me and goes, "Fuck. Good thing that Tannerite didn't go off in that TV that one time."
That's gold.
Oh, shoot.
And then we launched a small block Chevy cast iron intake into space.
Yeah, it went a long way.
It was way up there. And then we blew up a dryer at Randy's house we put 2 pounds of Tannerite in a dryer at Randy's house. And we were probably 150, 200 yards away from it, like across the ravine. You know, like the one point that goes out straight east, and then the one point that goes out like towards the north. We were on one point to the other point and shot this dryer, and the door of the dryer went like 50 yards behind us. We're like, whoa, probably should be more supervised than this.
Yes.
I've never messed with Tannerite, believe it or not.
That's surprising to me.
That is surprising. Well, he has probably fucking plastic explosives at his disposal.
Yeah,
so.
I guess.
I do have like a PhD in like blowing up gas, like car gas tanks.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I think PhD means something different to me than it does to you.
no, I got some experience. So, like for demolition derby cars, you got to pull the tanks out of them. So everybody watched the movies. Guy smoking a cigarette, throws it, and lights it, and blows it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what unsupervised 13-year-old on the middle of a farm doesn't want to blow a gas tank up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We tried all that shit, and none of that worked. We were myth busting before it was a TV show.
Back when it was just a bunch of rednecks.
So, and there's multiple gas tanks, Ford, Chevys, Dodges, all of them. And sometimes we put them on a bonfire and light it, and sometimes they're just like a cool dragging out like the fill nozzle, because all the cool cars, the nozzle comes out the license plate hole. So that was just, the gas would just boil and like shoot a dragon. But one time we was at a party and my stepdad was with us, and he's kind of a funny guy. And there's an old gas tank, and like to harass people or scare him, he's gonna toss it on the fire. And everyone's like, "No, don't do it." And the guy who lived there was like, "Oh, well, we cut it out of the car last week and caught on fire." He's like, "It's fine, it's full of water. Like, whatever, throw it on there, harass him." He throws this fucking tank on top of this bonfire, like this. It was out of like a '76 Chevy wagon, and like the fire like rolled slow, like just like in the movies, and that thing blew apart like a clamshell. There was a kid there. And this is the best part. It blew me off a cooler, but there was a kid there that had a glass eye. When it blew up and blew everybody back, this kid lost his fucking eye.
Oh, Jesus.
We found it, but that's not the part of the story.
So he misplaced an eye. He didn't lose it.
Eyeball out.
God dang it.
But like the road flares and propane tanks, those are pretty fun.
Road flares. Wait, you put a road flare on it and shoot it?
You zip tie a road flare to a propane tank and shoot it.
So a fun fact about military, when they move people, everyone has like a propane grill or whatever. The movers will not move the propane tank, so that there's like a surplus of half full propane tanks laying around.
Okay.
All right.
So especially during like moving season, you'll see people put them out on the curb for everybody. You
Okay.
can just snag them up for free and go blow. When I lived out in the desert by Johnson Valley, that was like a thing. Like, I
Is that
got
free
like 6 of
propane?
them. Let's go. What's that?
Is that free propane?
Oh yeah, free propane. You're just blowing it up out in the desert. It was great. It was my first experience with California law enforcement. Good guys all around.
Nice.
Because you hear about all the gun laws in California, right? But they're not enforced outside of like the cities.
Okay.
So out in the middle, so one of the guys who was a Marine that used to be in our unit, he had got out. He ran we're not going to too many details. The guy had a Class 4 license.
Okay.
So he had a bunch of cool shit, and we were out there playing with it, and they took off in the side-by-side to go play, and the sheriff and a park ranger came cruising up, and we have illegal shit laying all over the hood of my Blazer, my buddy's Blazer, propane tanks with fucking duct tape flares on them. We're in the middle of the desert. I'm like, yep, prison. Here we come. Going to prison.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Yeah, and it's like they pulled up. We seen someone coming up, but it was just too late. I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm like, oh, not too much, just hanging out. He's like, hey, have you guys seen a turquoise fucking 4Runner out here? Somebody's lost, because the national park is right next to where we were blowing stuff up in the desert. And tourists can get lost out in the desert. And we're like, no, we haven't seen it. And he's like, all right, well, we're going to cruise right through where you guys are shooting at. If you guys could hold up for a minute and let us get through, that'd be great.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, well, we'll hold up and let you get through. And like the cop, I remember him like glancing at like the hood of my truck and my buddy's truck. And like looking back at us, he's like, you boys look like you're having a good time today. So I'm going to let you get back to it. I'm going to get right through here. We won't be back this way, okay? I said, yes, sir.
They didn't want the paperwork.
No.
Yeah, because there's like rules about how big your magazines can be and stuff, and everyone's issued a handful of like 30-round magazines. So we had plenty of those laying out.
Sure.
Good time.
This is government issue, sir.
That's right.
No, that's still playing out in the desert. I don't think that works.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad I didn't have to explain it. He just jumped in his truck and went looking for the turquoise 4Runner.
Whatever works.
Yeah. So, and then the old boy came back. He's like, yeah, they don't care out here as long as you're not shooting across the roadway.
Fair enough.
So that's how desert law works. In case anyone ever wondered how it worked out in the desert of California, like unless you're touching kids or hurting somebody, like they really don't care. Like I think you can make all the meth or whatever you wanted out there, and they really don't give a shit. There's like one cop for 200 square miles, and they don't care until it's King of Hammer time, and then every sheriff in the county is in Johnson Valley for no reason.
Just to get that money from the tourists.
I wonder if anyone's died out there this year, because they're usually like two side-by-sides smash each other every year.
Well, the week's not over.
It's young in the week yet. Well, you've got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. You know what I'm saying?
I'd rather that not happen, but yeah, it seems like every time. And the show goes on.
Yeah, I remember the first year we went out there was a helicopter had to land or attempted to land. It was so dusty or something, and somebody had rolled their side by side, wasn't buckled in, and got thrown out and got all messed up, and had to call the helicopter.
Next year in the stock class out at King of Hammers, they say they have they're going to bump the tire size up to 37-inch tires.
For stock.
For stock class for the 4600s.
Hmm.
That happens to be the exact same tires that Humvees come with.
Interesting.
There's a bunch of surplus. I have a buddy out here that we race with in Paris. He's my co-driver or whatever. He's an amputee. I think we're going to buy like a bone stock Humvee and just try to bash it and see how far we can get.
I had a set of those ones.
The portals are like the tires.
The H1 takeoffs.
I put them on a K5 Blazer.
RIP.
the way God intended.
Mm-hmm. M1009.
Was it the triangle ones or the squiggly line ones?
The squiggly line.
No, it's triangle.
Was it triangle?
They were triangle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were triangle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were triangle.
I don't think
the squiggly lines are 36s.
Yeah.
The triangle are 37-inch radials.
Mm-hmm.
The squiggly are 36-inch bias.
Yeah.
the good wrench MRTs or whatever they are that are good wrench. I meant Goodyear. Those are the ones you want on your Humvee. The triangle ones are awful.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a wore out set of them because the rubber must be made out of like iron or something. Probably the worst tire ever made.
But they're cheap.
They are cheap.
It was like it was like the 1998 Patagonia. You know what I'm saying, or whatever they were. Am I using that word right?
Gumbo mutters.
No, like all the influencers run the same tire.
Oh yeah. The Patagonia MTs.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are Patagonia MTs?
They're cheap Chinese junk tires.
But they pay all the influencers to run them, so everybody runs them.
I wish somebody would pay me to run something.
You got to be an influencer, John. And being on the Short Story Long podcast is not the one-way ticket to that.
I get told that all the time. I need to start videoing some of the dumb stuff all the time.
It's the new way. Attention is the new currency.
Yeah.
I'm for it. I don't want to do any weird stuff, but I don't know how much the weird stuff pays, so we'll have to check into that.
I got people looking into it.
Well, boys, what did we learn today?
What did we learn? Are we going to do what did we learn?
Sam. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, do we want to do shit Wyatt says, or what do we learn?
Sure, yeah. Hit me with some shit Wyatt says.
Shit Wyatt says. We got a few. Okay, so the the kids were off school for
Snow days.
for snow. What was it?
Christmas or New Year's, then snow days.
Maybe it was snow days. One of the days was the
Oh
inauguration.
no, yeah, Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King Day? Yes, that's what it was. Martin Luther King Day. And that's the day Trump got inaugurated in the office. So we're sitting there. They were at my mom and dad's house watching. They watched the whole thing. So my wife said, Wyatt, what'd you learn today? You watched the inauguration? You know, what did you learn? He said, well, I actually did learn a lot. Aaron's like, okay, tell me more. I learned that they're going to change the name of golf in Mexico to USA Golf. And me and Larry just looked at each other.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're like basically. There's some bangers on here. He was telling me all about M1 Grands.
Okay.
On the way home from school, he's like, yeah. So is what you do is like you load like the ammo onto like a thing, and it's like a clip. He's like, yeah, a clip, and you like stick it in there with your thumb, and when you shoot your last shot, the clip comes out and makes a ching sound. And I was never so proud in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, where did you learn about these? Like Hunter Call the Wild. You can hunt grizzly bear with an M1 Grand. They're 30-06. You can kill a bear with 30-06.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
We need to get mine out to the Dozer House stat so
Yeah.
he can shoot it.
So he's been
Yeah, I'll buy the ammo.
he's been shooting bows with like a team.
Okay.
And one of the coaches went to Alaska wolf hunting. And he came back and we were shooting Tuesday night with the team. And I said, hey, did you kill any wolves? He said, no, I seen a bunch of coyotes and foxes, but no wolves. And Wyatt said, why didn't you kill them? He said, well, I was using, had too much gun for that. And Wyatt said, well, what gun were you using? He said, 30-06. And Wyatt goes, 30-06? You can kill a bear with them. This is all from a video game, apparently. So that was that. He was all wound up on M1 Grands for a while. So then all these conversations seem to happen at dinner, actually, now that I'm looking at this list. So we were sitting there eating. He goes, Mom, do all girls wear diapers? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I was watching TV and they had a diaper commercial for girls. And I was just wondering if all girls wear diapers. Well, he was talking about
Pads.
pads.
Oh.
And I was like, and me and Lauren look at each other, and I'm like, go for it. And he's like, no, be my guest. So I was like, well, you know, when a woman is of childbearing age, and he goes, do you think we can go coon hunting this weekend? And I was like, yes, we can.
Let's change the subject.
And
Stat.
Lauren's just over looking at me doing the no, just cut it off.
That's enough.
So I was like, well, now we haven't explained to him, so he's going to be going all around school telling all of his buddies, girls wear diapers. All girls wear diapers. So I don't know. That's something I wasn't prepared for in school, you know, in parenting.
Like, you're like, this is Laren's job with Emma. I don't have to explain this shit to Wyatt. Like, I'm in the clear, but turns out,
Yeah.
thanks to YouTube.
Yeah. Targeted ads for little kids.
Which there was a post on Instagram about that. Like, when I was growing up, like, there was all these children targeted ads, like on, you know, the cartoons. Like, how come there's not an option for Hulu to have like the latest in Super Soaker technology or whatever? Like, that's the kind of ads I want to watch, not fucking antidepressants and fucking
Boner pills.
boner pills.
So
I spend too much money on car parts to afford antidepressants.
right. Yeah. Why would you ever go to therapy when you can just mow a lawn?
Oh, I hate cutting grass.
Oh.
I'm not a good Midwesterner.
So as I said earlier in this podcast, we spruced up the bathroom out in my shop.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam and I were putting in the hot water heater, and Wyatt goes, well, I guess someone's got to take the first poop in it. So Sam and I are putting the hot water heater in, which is just on top of the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in there pooping away. And he gets done and flushes and opens the door, and oh my gosh, that smells like shit in there. And he kind of looks at me like, no kidding. So I was like, well, I got some Febreze. So I said, spray this Febreze. He's like, what do you mean? I spray it up in the air, spray it like this. And he's like, okay. So he sprays some Febreze. And I take the Febreze from him and go put
He's emptying the can.
Yeah, I take the Febreze from him. All right, that's enough Febreze. Smells like shitty Febreze in here. So I go put it back in the bathroom, and there's just fucking my brand new $79 toilet. It's just shit stained to hell. And I go, oh my gosh, did someone took a shit in here and just fucking shit stained this thing to hell? And he's kind of getting embarrassed. You know, he's looking down, kind of getting embarrassed. While I walk out of the bathroom, I was like, damn, someone ruined that thing. He just punches me in the nuts. That's why I go, I deserve that one. You remember that?
Square in the nards.
So to get on while we're on the topic of toilets, Sharon's office, they have like a public bathroom there. And I don't know where these people are from, but like the people who are supposed to fix Sharon's toilet don't fix it. So they start using the employee one, and the ladies in Sharon's office are like, now they're blowing up our toilet, and it's all bad. So it's like, hey, can you fix it? I'm like, yeah, sure, babe. I'll put the chain back on or whatever. I have fixed these people. I have fixed this thing in like the last 3 months. I have fixed it a handful of times. They just they broke the handle off of it the other day. Like, how do these people live? Like, I've never broken a toilet in my entire life.
They're like Chuck Norris kicking the flusher to can flush it.
They're doing something. I've never seen one. It had like this weird flush mechanism that I didn't understand. So
it's like a carburetor, John.
Yeah, it was a carburetor. It must have been one of those like junk Holly ones, not like an Elderbrock. But so I fixed the handle one time, and then we go back in there, and like the flush mechanism was all weird. So I like did the whole thing. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just trying to be nice to the lady friend.
Right.
Oh my goodness! And then they broke the handle off of it again. I fixed it the other day. I'm like, babe, this is it. Like,
They're $79, John. Just go get a new one.
Just go get a new one.
I'm gonna because the people they put work requests in and they don't get them fixed for like 6 months, and I got to hear about it. I can fix a toilet in 7.5 minutes, or I can hear Sharon bitch about not being able to use her toilet at work because on her 15-minute break because all the customers are in there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm starting a new band, Fixing Sharon's Toilet, if you want to be on it. In it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I play a mean harmonica.
Hell yeah.
So
And a cowbell.
I got more Wyatt stuff. So in
Let's go.
this bow shooting thing, there's a girl about his age that's just a dead eye. You know, girls are always a better shot than boys, especially when they're younger, you know. And
Even as an adult, even in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
I was on the shooting team for a while. The females, if they're not scared of it, they're really good shots.
yeah, well, you can transition and probably up your score.
I'll give it a shot.
So, Wyatt, he shoots next to this girl because the younger kids shoot at 10 yards instead of 20 yards. So him and this girl, who's been at it a lot longer than him, are shooting next to each other. Well, he's shooting pretty decent, and then he starts getting tired, and he starts just flinging arrows, you know, Indian style. And he shoots a couple into the girl's target, and she kind of looks at me. She goes, "His arrows are in my target." I was like, "You should probably tell him he needs to practice better." So they go down to pull arrows out of the target, and I can see her down there just chewing on him. You know, she's lecturing him about how he needs to do better. You know, and so I asked him, I said, "What'd she say to you?" Nothing. She didn't say anything. So so I tell my dad about it at work. And that night we had to go by my mom and dad's house to get something. And my dad's like, "Is Wyatt out in the car?" I said, "Yep." So he comes out in the car. He said, "Hey, Wyatt, was that cute little girl sitting there shooting bows with you?" "Yeah." "Yeah. Is she pretty impressed with how good you are at shooting bows?" And he just kind of gets this shit-eating grin on his face. He takes his hand. He goes, 50-50.
That's awesome.
50-50. Oh,
50-50.
shoot. Okay, so next one. So Sam knows Wyatt's Mr. Did You Know?
Right.
So somehow he learned that 100 kids a year go missing in North America.
Okay.
And my wife's like, "Yeah, probably a day."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Yeah, in North America, 100 kids go
I
missing."
think it's 1,500 actually.
And he's like, talking about, I was like, "Where'd you learn?" He's like, "I learned about it on YouTube." I was like, "Okay." Mind you, we try to limit this kid's YouTube because he watches the most ignorant bullshit. But so we're like, okay, so we're driving home from church, and Laren's like, "Yeah, it's definitely more than 100 kids. That's for damn sure." And he's like, "So how far do we live from North America?" And Laren's like, "You live in North America." He starts crying. "I am screwed. I am disappearing for sure. I am screwed." So then, we're like, no, you know, like, this is why me and your mom tell you need to stay close to us out in public and stuff, because kids do disappear. But we're like, you know, still the odds are pretty low. I was like, think of
Does he know why they disappear?
I don't know. I didn't think we got in that. We're still trying to figure out why girls wear diapers. You know?
Because if he's just thinking they're just walking and hitting black magic on the sidewalk.
I think that's what he thinks it is, because actually tonight he told me he hoped somebody didn't say abracadabra and make him disappear. So I think that's what he thinks is happening. He just thinks he's going to vaporize with magic. Maybe I need to tell him it's the perverts. So he's all freaked out, and we're like, "No, Wyatt, like, you know, imagine all the hair on your head. The amount of kids that disappear from the United States is probably like one piece of hair on your head." And he didn't get it. He's pretty sure he's getting abracadabra out of his bitch. How close do we live to North America? You're in it, dude.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. He was shooketh.
Poor feller.
Yeah. Life's hard.
Poor kid. It just crying all the way home.
So anyway, that's all I got for a Y dog. The last podcast we did, I didn't have much written down, so I've been trying to write stuff
Write it
down.
down.
Yeah.
In other news, completely unrelated, Yingling is now in Illinois, so
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Jason's all wound up about that.
Why? It has carbs.
I don't know. I don't think he's an anti-carb guy.
He's a stag guy.
He's a stag guy for the novelty. He doesn't even like drinking it. Nobody likes drink. He likes drinking it.
Yingling isn't country.
Stag is the low pinion Chevy Dana 60 a beer. Nobody wants it.
Why are we talking? What?
Nobody wants it.
Hey, there's still stag in my fridge from when John was here 6 months ago.
Okay.
I don't drink Stag.
Oh no, PBR. Sorry, PBR.
Yeah. People being real.
Yeah.
John fucking hammered like half of a 24 rack while he was here. Got in the Buick LeSabre and left.
Why are we bashing Dana 60s, GM Dana 60s?
You just had to be there. GM Dana 60s are great in a GM.
Yeah. Sure.
But nobody swaps them into passenger drop Jeeps.
Yeah. They're not ideal.
Actually, it's a Dodge. But anyway, you get my point.
You get what we're saying.
Yeah, low pinions. You got to support your pinion.
You know my opinion on those.
I drink it because it makes me unique.
Oh, and guess what?
Unique,
I have broadened Andrew Dial's horizons.
This ought to be good.
He is now subscribed to the Menards email chain.
Oh, I have been for a while. I just didn't open them.
Oh, you didn't open them?
Deleted them.
What?
Yeah, I've been subscribed to Menards emails for years. I just delete them.
Oh, dude, I buy more from Menards than I do from any other retailer on the planet, thanks to their marketing emails.
John Menard is a dick.
And I have been told that, but
I would be too if I was ultra rich.
For all of his faults, he buys all these clearance closeouts and then blasts them out on email, and people like me are a sucker and buy them. I bought a fucking kitchen sink, John.
Nice.
Everything, including the kitchen sink.
There was a $600 kitchen sink on sale for $72.
And Sam knows the deal when he sees one.
And I knew a deal when I saw a deal, and I took that deal. And I bought myself a kitchen sink. And then the week before that, I bought 8 pairs of boxer briefs.
Yeah, not even your size, but it was a deal.
They were my size.
Okay.
They were my size. I don't know if they fit yet or not. They're in the hamper. I'm going to wash them first.
Do you wash your underwear before you wear them?
Absolutely.
I do not.
I wash every piece of
Drives
clothing.
my wife crazy.
The only clothing that I don't wash before wearing is socks.
I'll take a shirt out of the package, wear that son of a bitch.
Not me. Not me.
New socks just don't feel the same when they've been washed once. You got to put those things on fresh out of the package.
So about 10 years ago,
Here we go.
I told my mom, because
Oh,
she was getting me socks and underwear for Christmas, right? Because I didn't need anything else. I said, if I ever win the lottery,
here we go.
There'll be signs. Like, you won't know, but there'll be signs. And like, I will never wash a pair of socks again in my life. Every day I'll put a new pair of socks on. Every day. Because there's nothing like the feeling of brand new socks.
Yeah, boy. I got a whole set of new socks at home. I may just wear new socks all next week.
It'll change your life.
Socks are expensive.
Socks are expensive.
What's up with that? You meant like growing up, mom's like, quit running outside in your socks. You're going to tear them up. Like, who cares?
They're socks.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah. I charge $7.50 a pair now.
Whew. Sock miser.
$7? Is that on the Snap-on truck?
Yeah, the Snap-on socks. Best socks ever made. I wear them every day.
Are they
wool?
Huh?
Are they wool or are they cotton?
They're cotton. They make wool socks, but they're like $14 a pair.
Worth it. That's cheap. I paid $35 a pair for my darn Tufts.
I thought about ordering some just to try. Like I have so they have two wool socks. They have like their work wool socks and their dress wool socks. And I have the dress wool socks and I love them.
Wool's good.
But I've never had the work wool socks. They're merino wool. I don't know what the difference.
It's a type of sheep that it comes off of.
Okay.
So all like the hunting
Is that
industry.
real?
I don't know.
Yeah. So like the whole hunting industry is moving to wool away from like synthetics and polyester.
Sure.
So the coach for the CrossFit class I go to posted on Facebook, like, hey, looking for suggestions in underwear. And she's like, I'm a grandma now, and I can't be having my undies riding up. So, like the next day or
Well,
whatever.
she's a girl, so she obviously needs a diaper, right?
Obviously, that's the problem. So the next class I went to, I was like, hey, I'm a 36-year-old guy. I have no business commenting on your underwear choice, but I would highly recommend wool. I said, somebody else recommended wool, another girl. I was like, I would look into whatever brand that is. And I showed her, I was like, I've been working out for an hour in wool underwear. I pulled up my shorts and I said, they don't ride up at all. So like, that's the thing with wool socks. They don't move on your foot and cause a blister. Mm-hmm. And wool is still warm when it's wet.
Yeah.
So, like a week goes by, she's like, hey, I bought some wool underwear. They're amazing. I love them. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm like, here we are, underwear consultant.
Yeah. But add it to the business card.
That's right. So what do we learn?
Well,
I'm about to pee my pants. Let's get this over with.
I learned Dozer's an underwear consultant.
That's right.
Wyatt's gonna get abracadabraed up out of this bitch.
Yes.
Hipsters are the best people to buy Jeep parts from.
Okay.
I didn't write any of this down, by the way. And John was boys with JD Vance back in the day.
That's a good one.
I'd avoid his ass.
How about you, John? What'd you learn?
MJ tailgates are worth their gold. It's not rusty unless you can throw a cat through it. And to comment on the socks, once upon a time there used to be a brand name of socks called Wickers, and they were great for like military socks.
Okay.
But now there's another sock brand called Darn Tough. They want like $35 for a pair of socks, but they're absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I've got 3 pair.
Of Darn Toughs?
Yes, I've got darn tough. That's what I wore in Alaska.
Yeah, they're great socks.
They're amazing.
I may have to order some of the Snap-on wool socks now.
Merino wool. Merino's the type of.
Do you have any pink socks?
Oh yeah, they're cotton.
Oh, well, I want them. Do you don't have any wool pinks?
No,
Snap-on socks?
they're all black. All the wool socks are black.
I guess set me a couple to the side and pick me a couple items and all. I got to be over $100 for free shipping, right?
Yeah, we'll find you some screwdrivers or something.
one screwdriver.
Find me something cool and I'll.
Dude, the spark plug gapper.
The spark plug gapper.
Yeah, you'd have to buy like 7 of them.
Yeah. We'll figure something out, John. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, we'll find something for you to spend money. I had something else good. I just lost it though. I forgot what it was. I guess it's lost forever.
Lost forever.
Well, if you think of it, let me know. So what did I learn? I learned that movers won't move propane.
Okay.
Don't trade in your cars, just buy more shit boxes.
Perfect.
California only has gun laws in the city.
Yeah.
No, they're only enforced in the city.
Fair enough.
I'm sure if you get on their bad side, they'll enforce them.
Sam likes to tailgate people when he's driving down the road.
Yep.
A deal is not too good to be true when the seller hates people. What is this? New.
Can't read your own handwriting?
Okay, we'll skip that one. John Menard is a fucking prick.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's where we're at. Okay. It says new socks.
He fired my brother.
Oh, nothing feels like a new pair of socks.
Yeah.
I mean, who didn't know that though?
I guess I didn't realize I have new socks at home that I've not been wearing that. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I used to only have 2 kind of socks.
Mm-hmm.
They were both black dress socks.
Mm-hmm.
I hunted them. I would work out in them, go to work in them, whatever. But the nice thing is, if you only have 2 type of socks, if you grab 3 socks, what do you have? You got a pair of socks.
Okay.
And my mom bought me like 4 different kind of socks for Christmas one year and totally ruined that. And I think I'm going to go home tonight and throw away all my socks and have 2 type of socks. All you have to do, if you have 2 type of socks, you grab 3 socks and you'll have a pair.
Well, you don't sort them after the laundry? You don't?
No, what do you think I got fucking goddamn made? You think this shit just fucking sorts itself?
Well, before you got here, I folded all my socks together and rolled them together, so I have a pair of socks rolled together.
No.
Because you buy all your own socks. You don't have someone buying you random.
Yeah, and you got kids, you got a wife, you got a business. No, you don't got any of that shit. I got fucking other things. You don't have to. You don't have to. The fact is, can I? Yes. Would I have to? No. If you only have 2 different pair of socks, you grab 3 socks, and 2 of them are gonna fucking match. Think about it.
I guess I just like the convenience of if you grab 1 sock off my shelf, so you have a pair of socks.
You don't have to match them. You don't have to do that though.
You just have a pile of black ones.
Yeah.
I do have a
Not
pile of
that it
black ones,
matters.
but they're together in pairs.
But it takes up so much room. If your socks are flat, I got more socks than I got so many socks.
I think you should go home, throw all your
Message me-
socks away,
Yeah.
and
Message me if you want any of my used socks. I'm cutting deals.
on Monday I'll come by and I'll sell you a case of Snap-on socks.
Oh, Jesus. I'm already in trouble for my Snap-on purchases.
Do
Your
they come
Milwaukee
with a phone
purchases.
So
organizer?
my bookkeeper's husband is a mechanic. So every time I give her a Snap-on receipt to put in a QuickBooks, she's like, "Oh God, they got you too."
You have ruined those cards.
Yeah, I just sit here and shuffle these cards.
You've
the
been
whole-
for the last 10 episodes, you've been shuffling the same deck of cards, and they are just wore the
the
plum out.
fucking corners are totally soft on them. Fuck 'em. Hey, we got this whole unopened unit.
We haven't done those,
Questions for Humanity Friends. We've been doing Guys Night.
which we've only done like 10 of those questions.
No, we've done them all.
Have we done them all?
Yeah.
I don't think
Back
we've-
on the topic of socks, if anyone else wants used socks, I plan on getting rid of about 20 pounds of green and tan socks.
Okay.
Shortly.
So are you
Never
retired?
wearing- Huh?
Are you retired?
I'm getting there. I'm getting close. I'm
Okay.
ready to toss all these fucking socks and all this clothes, and all this bullshit I don't want to have anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
Mostly,
If it was covered in poop, would you wash it or throw it away?
yeah, I don't know if I'm moving, if we're staying out here. I don't know what I'm doing. But all these brown.
We can tell.
socks are going. Was that?
What?
When
Well,
will I know whether I'm moving or not? Is that the question?
No, John, I gotta go to the bathroom, but it was great talking to you, and this podcast better be over by the time I get done. So,
All righty, John. Well, thanks for calling in. And to all the listeners, thanks for riding along with us. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
All right, have a good one, man.
All right. See you, John.
Bye.
I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa, she's a one of a kind. All my friends call me Bear Claw. The village chieftain is my pawpaw. He gets his orders from my mama. She makes him walk the line. You can find me in my wigwam. I'll be beating on my tom-tom. Pull out the pipe and smoke you some. Hey, and pass it around. 'Cause I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa, she's a one of a kind. We can ride my pony double, make your little heart bubble, Lord, like a glass of wine. I remember the medicine man. He caught running water in my hands, drugged me around by my headband, said I wasn't her kind. 'Cause I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa, she's a one of a kind. Well, I can kill a deer or a buffalo with just my arrow and my hickory bow. From 100 yards, don't you know? I do it all the time. They all gather around my teepee late at night trying to catch a peek at me and nothing but my buffalo briefs. I got them standing in line, 'cause I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa, she's a one of a kind. Cherokee